जय गुरु जी महाराज। शुक्राना गुरु जी महाराज। शुक्राना 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 गुरु जी महाराज। तो मल्टीलिंगुअल प्लेटफॉर्म पे एक बार फिर समस्त गुरु परिवार का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आज दिवाली के शुभ अवसर पर समस्त गुरु परिवार को गुरु जी की बहुत सारी ब्लेसिंग्स मिले। हम सब गुरु जी की शरण में हमेशा आगे बढ़ते रहें और ये दिवाली हम सबके दिलों में, हम सबकी जिंदगियों में गुरु जी की वो अपार रोशनी लेकर के आए, वो अपार डिवाइन लाइट लेकर के आए, जिससे सारे अंधकार दूर हो जाए, हमारी सारी नेगेटिविटी गुरु जी के चरणों में समाये हो जाए। गुरु जी महाराज हम सबको ये सोची देना और हम सब पे अपना मेहरा वाला हाथ हमेशा रखना गुरु जी। हमसे जो गलतियां हुई हमें उन सब के लिए क्षमा करना गुरु जी, और ये दिवाली सबके लिए खूब सारी खुशियां लेकर के आए और हमारे गुरु जी हमेशा हमेशा ऐसे ही मुस्कुराते रहें। जय गुरु जी। शुक्राना गुरु जी। संगत जी आज हम सब एक बार फिर मिलकर के गुरु जी महाराज की उस्तत में रिस्पेक्टेड कमांडर अंकल की बुक ब्लेसिंग्स ऑफ डिविनिटी की रीडिंग करेंगे। और आज आरती सिंह आंटी जी हमारे बीच हैं जो रीडिंग करेंगे। आरती सिंह आंटी जी आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं। जय गुरु जी।
जय गुरु जी।
जय
थैंक यू
गुरु जी।
गुरु माता जी। आज आपकी कृपा से ये बहुत प्यारा मौका मिला है, फिर से आपकी सेवा मिली एंड आपकी अरदास बहुत अच्छी थी। होस्ट आंटी सच महाराज सबको बख्शे और सबके जिंदगी में अंधकार का नाश करें और सबके जीवन में रोशनी ले आए। एंड कमांडर अंकल आपका बहुत थैंक यू। गुरु जी लिखवाते हैं और आप ऐसी प्यारी बुक लिखकर हम सबको blessings मिलती हैं साथ में। So I will start reading. Maharaj's Seva, the rites of passage. The path to Seva was slow and steady. As newish devotees, our role during the satsang was to come, have chai, halwa, prasad, langar, receive his blessings, and as per his agya, go home. Not only to be back again, only to be back again for another visit. To some devotees, Guruji gave the heavenly chance of pressing his feet. My earnest desire was to do so too. I used to wonder if I would ever get this opportunity. I did not have the courage to initiate this on my own or ask him. One day, I devised a method. Instead of simply bowing my head and touching his feet for Agya, I thought I would hold on to his feet and press them for a few times before getting up. It was a good plan. I had never told anyone about it. On the next available Saturday, I implemented this devotional ruse. As I bowed forward, I held his lotus feet and pressed them gently 5 to 6 times. No reaction from Maharaj. He simply let it be. My hands got his fragrance in the process. That day, the devotees wanted to smell my hands because they knew they smelt of Guruji. I avoided washing and cleansing my hands and took care to see that they did not get dirty. I also did not shake hands with anyone for as long as I could avoid it. My happiness knew no bounds. The ruse had worked. I did the same thing on my next visit and was emboldened by Guruji and was emboldened as Guruji did not stop me. Initially, I'd press his feet 3 or 4 times, and seeing that he was implicitly allowing it, the frequency doubled. Of course, he knew what was happening, just that he allowed me this liberty. As the time came to take my leave during the next darshan, I pressed his feet, this time a little longer than usual. He looked at me in a half pleasant, half scolding manner and told me to move on. His words were, Oye, ho gaya, chal bas. I quickly withdrew my hands and disappeared because I didn't want this blessing to stop. During the next visit, Maharaj was sitting with both his feet on the ground. But when my turn came, I closed my eyes and bent forward and felt around his feet. They were not there. I looked up to find that Maharaj had folded his feet on the seat and was looking at me, indicating that I'd better carry on. This was repeated on the next visit. When this happened the third time, I prayed to him as I was coming into the queue. I vowed to be disciplined if I was allowed to press his feet just a little bit. I told Guruji I could not survive without this, but that I would not be greedy. As my turn came to bow, Maharaj had both his legs up, but he lowered one on the ground so that I could hold on to it for a few seconds. It was unbelievable. This kind of interaction devotees have with Maharaj, and that's the way he listens to them. He will smile and allow you to express your devotion. After that, whenever I got a chance, even now and then, I'd press his feet for some time. My hands would always come back redolent with his fragrance. Similarly, when we used to get halwa prasad, he would drop prasad from a height of maybe 4 or 5 inches. His hands would never touch the devotees except on occasion. I really desired that contact. On one occasion, I brought my hands forward and prayed mentally that he would put prasad on my hand and not simply drop it. Wish granted. He not only put the prasad on my hand, but also gently pressed down on my hands from the top. It was wonderful that my prayer was granted. Clearly, there was and continues to be this beautiful yet subtle two-way connection between Maharaj and me. With time, this greed for more disappeared to a large extent. I have been quite content with this connection and the blessings that came my way. Uh, through whatever though whatever came was phenomenal and always delivered an out of world experience. The desire for seva never leaves earnest devotees, but seva we generally refer to the opportunity to do anything related to Guruji, orally, physically, emotionally, mentally, and any other way. It is seva. Anything done for the glory of Maharaj is seva, but this understanding of seva develops over time. I too had an earnest desire to do seva, which was fanned during one visit to Bade Mandir, where I saw a senior sevak washing vegetables. I requested him to to help allow me to help out too, but received a definite no. I couldn't participate in seva until Guruji gave his own hukam, he rightly added. I was dejected. I took myself to a corner and I cried. I petitioned Maharaj. I was his child. I could not even wash vegetables. Was it something so big that I was not allowed to do? That day passed, but the entreaty stayed in my heart. Once you have bhakti, that is devotional ardor. He listens to you. My prayer was answered during Maharaj's birthday celebrations. I came a bit early to Bade Mandir with my wife. I left her in the main hall and went to the area in front of the kitchen, again looking for an opportunity to do seva. Apparently, I was the only one in that area at that moment. One of the cooks, or maybe the cook's assistant, spotted me. He had a knife in his hand. He had a cloth wrapped around at its end to work as a makeshift hilt. He asked me to come in and pointed to a huge pile of tomatoes that required dicing. The cook gave me the knife, saying that the tomatoes were to go into the salad being prepared and that I should dice them quickly. I was taken aback by what sounded like a direct order. Not long ago, I hadn't been allowed to wash vegetables, and here I was being asked to cut tomatoes, a whole lot of them. Wasting no time, I sat down for the task. It was it was at I was at it for a long time, and to tell the truth, my hands were really tired. When my wife stepped out of langar, I was still at it. She later told me that Guruji had given her a huge grin as she passed him, and she wondered why. I told her that he made me chop vegetables today and I would never ever complain about seva again. This was the first proper seva that I was awarded in the mandir. The seva I got next was to serve vegetables to the Sangat during Langar at Bade Mandir. It came about when I approached the Langar Seva coordinator who asked me how long I had been coming to Guruji. Once I said 2 years, he simply allowed me to serve the dishes to the Sangat. From that day on, this seva became a regular feature. I could relate myself as a sevak from that point on. My involvement in these tasks increased incrementally. From langar distribution to coordination, Guruji picked me and prepared me for seva. During doing seva brought its own joy. Just before one big function in Bade Mandir, Guruji asked 7 or 8 of us to go to Bade Mandir to clean its premises. We cleaned the mandir from one end to another. As we were ready to leave from home in the evening, we got a message from Guruji to stay back in the mandir for the night. We stayed back and spent the night doing satsang, sharing experiences, and sleeping a little. Next morning, we came to know that Guruji would be coming to the mandir. I felt maybe he would inspect what we had done. This made me a little nervous. Guruji came to Bade Mandir around 11 a.m. He was dressed in sports shoes, white trousers, and half sleeve shirt. He had bought parathas for us. Guruji was visibly very pleased with our seva, and that made our day. He began picking up items from the main darbar hall to distribute them amongst us. The sevaks, one particular amongst us, the sevaks. One particular item, a brass flower vase, caught my fancy, and I mentally addressed Guruji saying that I wanted that and nothing else. I stepped out and went towards the kitchen area to distance myself from anything else. He might give anything else that he might give. Next, I saw Baba uncle walking up to me with that very flower vase in his hand, saying that Guruji had given it for me. This is what happens when when you have a loving guru who has taken you in his care. In 2004, sometime in the second half of the year, Guruji asked General Kapoor uncle to organize a satsang at Clare Farm. It was meant only for military personnel or Faujis. Guruji said that he would invite whomsoever else he chose. The date was fixed for December 26, 2004. General Kapoor uncle put together a team that included Vijay Pushkarna uncle, Vijay Wing Commander Anil Arora uncle, Commander Vimal Nagpal uncle, myself, and a few other devotees. General Kapoor uncle was our leader in every possible way and guided us admirably. The entire satsang was an amazing experience. There was a moment during the satsang which remains specially vivid. This was when General Kapoor uncle introduced us to Guruji with the words to the effect that we were Guruji's forge and we would execute whatever he ordered to perfection and with full dedication. Guruji smiled, looked at us, and nodded approvingly. Our day was made. That was the very day when the tsunami hit far eastern countries, including Indonesia and Thailand. Many amongst those present had cancelled their planned vacation to those countries to be at this satsang. It was clear that this date for the satsang was chosen by Maharaj to keep his devotees out of harm's way. We move on to the next chapter. Guruji's lotus feet blessed Gurgaon. A milestone moment awaited us in 2006. It was sometime towards the end of the year 2005 that I felt this urge to request Guruji Maharaj to come to Gurgaon and bless his Sangat there. I did not have the courage to openly request him. So I spoke to Singla uncle, who told me that Guruji accepted invitations to devotees' houses if I invited him. And if I invited him, he would come. I thought that Guruji could come to Jalvayu Towers where I lived. It had a community center where we would welcome him. Singla uncle advised me to request Guruji. Nervous to the bones, I rehearsed my dialogues over and over again to ensure that I would make the plea without fumbling. Finally, gathering courage, I went to Maharaj and managed to speak a single sentence. Guruji, please Gurgaon mein charan dalo. Please deign your lotus feet to Gurgaon. His, he pretty much dismissed me from his presence with a desultory wave of his hand. I was disheartened. I went back to Singla uncle and he advised me to plead my case again after some time. So I did it, but Maharaj ignored the plea completely. Still, it was an improvement from that I wasn't dismissed. Few months passed before I made the request again. On this occasion, Guruji acknowledged the request and said, the Sanghe, a promise to let me know later. Guruji spoke to Singla uncle and sought his views on the matter. Singla uncle responded affirmatively, and Guruji asked for me. Since it was not Saturday, I was not at Empire Estate. I was in a club, having dinner with my wife and daughters, when I got a call from Singla uncle. I told uncle that I was where I was and that it would take me 20 minutes to get down to Guruji's. Uncle spoke to Maharaj, who said I didn't have to come. Guruji instead told General Kapoor uncle about it, but didn't mention any date for the visit. Subsequently, the team assembled again under the leadership of General Kapoor uncle as for the Clare Farm Satsang and began the planning. The date was Jan 28th, 2006, and it was going to be a public function. You can imagine our excitement. We checked out many venues. Finally, Mehta uncle, a senior devotee, secured Liberty Park next to Huda Gymkhana Club as the venue for this public function. It was also very close to Delhi Jaipur highway. Guruji approved the venue and also directed that the satsang should begin by 11 in the morning. Guruji also asked me to prepare an invitation card to be distributed amongst the sangat. I went to the office, got hold of a realm of yellowed A4 size papers, put the material on the computer and took the prints. No jazzy stuff. Then I went to Maharaj, showed him the draft and received his approval. Invitations were printed at the office and distributed in accordance with Maharaj's directions. I felt he liked the idea of printed invites. Subsequently, I was asked to repeat this seva for Mahashivratri function that was due a month or so later. I again printed the invites and took them to Maharaj. He looked at them approvingly, again asked my name and what I did. I repeated the exact thing that I had told him in 2001. That's it. I had retired as a commander from the Navy. He looked at me and said, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਗੁੜਗਾਉਂ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਦਾ ਕਮਾਂਡਰ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਸੰਗਤ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕਰ I make you the commander of Gurgaon Sangat. Gather the Sangat there. I was overwhelmed. Such is the grace of Guruji Maharaj. When it was time for Baisakhi function, he asked me to get a similar invitation printed again. Remember how in 2005 Maharaj didn't want me to do any job, asking me to be in his seva instead? When I insisted, he gave me the job and gave me only 4 years. The benevolent Guruji then made me commander in 2006 and blessed me with a lifelong seva of connecting Sangat, in the process blessing me with extended life in his seva. Back to Guruji's visit to Gurgaon. Guruji also sent us to different places in Gurgaon with invitations in hand. Occasionally, we would get funny looks from people at whose doorsteps we landed as strangers. We went to all kinds of places, but none of the people looked like they were going to come. We focused on doing our seva and moved on. There was no aspect of the satsang which was not directly controlled or directed by Maharaj. Guruji told us that no one from Delhi could attend the satsang, which was meant to be only for those based in Gurgaon. He was specifically going to bless the sangat that lived in Gurgaon. Anybody from outside Gurgaon was going to be invited by Guruji himself. Guruji told us the number of sangat we should be prepared for. Guruji even told us what to keep for langar: tandoori roti, langar wali dal, aloo vadi, chutney, gajar ka halwa. Colonel Joshi uncle, who was coordinating with me, also advised us that we offer Guruji salted cashew nuts, almonds, dry apricots, coconut water, and sweet lime juice. I was excited with the thought that it was going to be my seva for my Guruji. I had prayed to Maharaj for this seva, and so it was. Joshi uncle spoke directly to me and told me to organize these things. It was easy. We procured everything and were ready, except for the sweet lime juice. The day before the event, we went around looking for a juicer but couldn't find one in the whole of Gurgaon. We then decided to go for a manual juicing machine. We couldn't get that either. So many shops, and they didn't even have a simple juicer. By late evening, we were fully tired. At that point, I got a call from Colonel Joshi telling me that the juice must be extracted by hand. Guruji does not like juice from mixers, he told me. No wonder the juicers had disappeared from the markets. I thanked him for the timely input. My wife decided to hand squeeze the sweet lime juice. A liter of juice had to be extracted by hand. It was not easy for my wife, causing a lot of pain in the elbows and the arms. She prayed to Guruji mentally. Guruji, बहुत मेहनत लगी है. Pura pina, please. This was handwork. Please drink the full juice. The juice was put in a freezer along with a kilo of ice. The reason, as we knew, Guruji would like it not just chilled, he wanted it nearly freezing temperature. More about it a little later. We received detailed instructions from Guruji on how to go about the Aarti as well. The diya had to be bought from Madan uncle's place, but the Aarti had to be prepped by my wife, Commander Aunty. To decide who would offer the Aarti, we opted a lottery system. We asked those who wanted to offer the devotional light to Guruji to write their names on a slip and put it in a box. A young child was asked to take out 9 slips. My wife had missed a chance to do Aarti at Clare function. She didn't want to miss the opportunity this time, but her name didn't show up. I could feel her disappointment, but couldn't offer her any privileges. In her own way, she silently complained to Maharaj that this was not fair. A setback occurred long before the satsang. General Kapoor was hospitalized with severe pneumonia. Even as we were worried about his health, the responsibility for the function came to me. However, Guruji bore us out of all difficult situations. For instance, when we inspected the grounds of the venue, we were wearing shoes, and none of us realized that the place was full of thorns. The venue was a good 100-meter walk from the shoe stand, where the Sangat would drop off their footwear. How could the Sangat walk on thorn filled land? That day before the event, a devotee suggested we use red carpet from the point of entry to the carpeted arena where the Sangat would sit down. We did so without realizing that Guruji had covered us for every single thing. We were only going through the motions of seva. We became aware of the presence of the thorns on the day of the satsang when the Sangat moved from their sitting area to the langar hall, only a meter patch of land left uncovered. We quickly covered it with the carpet so that the barefoot Sangat could move between the two areas. Maharaj's arrival was at 11 o'clock. We were there on time. As the time of Guruji's arrival came near, We looked around to find very few devotees. We panicked. Guruji Maharaj was going to be there soon, and we would have nothing to show of our effort. We tried to request Colonel Joshi to see if he could delay Guruji's departure from Empire Estate. He told me that Guruji had already left, but Guruji got the news, as it were, and took some time to reach the satsang, even though there was no traffic on the roads at all. Around 200 people were there at the venue when Guruji arrived. Overjoyed beyond words, we welcomed Maharaj. General Kapoor led a simple felicitation. He jumped out of his ICU bed at the hospital against medical advice for the satsang. As soon as Guruji occupied his asan, the sangat began pouring in. We could not recognize most of the devotees. I had been organizing monthly satsang in Gurgaon for a few years, also going to Empire Estate, but I had never seen most of the devotees from Gurgaon. Unknown to us, they were the Guru's Sangat, and he had invited them in his own way. The place was the place got filled quickly and completely. The satsang was being carried along by Guruji's grace, and when we suddenly realized that it was hot, it was January, but the sun was out. We panicked and ran around knowing that Guruji must be feeling hot in the open. Fortunately, Bimal Nagpal uncle was able to organize a fan quickly. The next jolt came when Colonel Joshi uncle came to us, rightly wondering where Guruji would retire to sit down to have langar in privacy. My heart froze because we had not planned any such enclosure. I exclaimed that we had missed that. No one had told us that we should have thought about it on our own. Colonel Joshi uncle went to Maharaj and told him about it. Guess what Maharaj did? He decided to have the langar in the open in front of his sangat. He, in fact, had the meal seated on his asan. Normally, he would hardly eat. That day, I still remember Maharaj holding that small plate and finishing it along with the gajar ka halwa. He was so kind, so gracious. He accepted everything that was served to him with love. It didn't matter what it was, how much it was, and how it was presented. As of the Aarti, everyone was supposed to offer it to Guruji, lined up on the stage towards Maharaj's left. There were a few women devotees, including my wife, watching from a distance. Their names had come up via the had not come up via the lottery. All the ladies who were on the stage finished their aarti quickly, and Guruji beckoned the other women devotees who were standing further away to offer aarti. Commander Aunty, along with others who had missed a chance through the lottery, could also gratefully offer their lamps of love to Maharaj. Their prayers were answered. As always, Guruji had acknowledged the heartfelt emotions of those who loved him. That, that was what happened with the sweet lime juice as well. My wife who had been guarding it till Maharaj would drink it. Normally, Maharaj wouldn't take more than a glass. That day, he fully consumed the juice. The omniscient Guru knew the words my wife had spoken in her heart. His love is such that he could not say no. He would not break her heart. He drank nearly all the juice, handing over part of the glass to General Kapoor uncle. As prayed by Commander Aunty, the juice was finished right up to the last drop. The flask we used to store the juice still carries a hint of fragrance that was there in 2006. In fact, when we hold our annual satsang in Gurgaon to honor that wonderful occasion, as also to remind the Sangat and ourselves of our continuing good fortune, we make a point to use the flask at least once to serve the chai prasad to the sevaks. No matter what you add in it, the original flavor stays. Guruji was very pleased on the satsang that day. He told General Kapoor that he had blessed Gurgaon and the Gurgaon Sangat. Uncle nodded in assent to Guruji's words, but Guruji asked him to make a public announcement to this effect. General Kapoor use the microphone to broadcast his blessings to his devotees, to his beloved devotees, all who can see him and all who cannot see him, all those who are here and all those who are not here. Each one of them has been blessed. At last, it was time for Maharaj to leave, and we had the opportunity to stand in front of Maharaj with General Kapoor uncle again leading us. We bowed in front of him. As he got up to leave, I trailed behind him, unable to accompany him from the asan to the car simply because my emotions got the better of me. I cried as much as in I cried as much in relief as in front as in the as from the fact that I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want him to leave. There was another emotional moment for me that blessed day. I lost my mother in 1999. On that day in Gurgaon, I saw a lady who looked just like my mother. I craved for her blessings, but I couldn't walk up to her. Fortunately, another elderly female devotee from our Sangat, whom I knew well, came and sat next to her. I now had an excuse as I bowed to touch the elderly devotee's feet. My mother's look-alike put both her hands on my head on her own accord without fuss. And I quickly used another hand to touch her feet, got up and walked away. I believe Guruji made me connect with my mother in a subtle way without anyone coming to know about it. Since that year, since the year 2008, a satsang has been held every year at Gurgaon to mark and honor Maharaj's visit to renew Guruji's blessings. Those of us who organize the annual satsang at Gurgaon on 2000, uh, uh, Gurgaon on December 25th each year can share many instances of his divine intercession. That blessed day is forever etched in the memory of each and every member of the Sangat who was present there on January 28, 2006. A red letter day indeed. Jai Guruji, uh, um, I ask for forgiveness for the fumbling and the mistakes that I may have made. But Maharaj has been kind that I just have come back from Bade Mandir and I'm doing this reading. So Shukrana Maharaj, you have your own ways because it's your bakshish and your kripa. And I liked that part about that sentence about loving Guru, who who just can't help loving his devotees and grants all their wishes. So it's like this that I was once in Chota Mandir. This is about 2 weeks ago, and they gave us jal prasad in a little glass. Now it came in a steel glass, which means that it wasn't a Bisleri bottle, so it was from the dharti of Chota Mandir. But I gulped the jal prasad very quickly, and as soon as I did that, I regretted that I should have saved up some in my bottle to take back home for my family and my children, husband. So and anyway, then we got our chai prasad and samosa and barfi, which all the prasad I ate, but all the time kept regretting that why did I drink the jal prasad so quickly? Now they never give us a second helping of anything. In fact, they once they see that you have finished, they say agya loji and abhi aap chalo. But that day I kept sitting and I just looked at Guruji and I said, Guruji, I always hear from your devotees, from our Sangat family, that you listen. And and at that minute, this girl, she comes with a tray and one glass of jal in it, only one glass in it. And she stands in front of me and she offers me the jal prasad. And I looked at her and I said, this is for me. So she said, yeah, for you. So obviously, Maharaj put the thought in her head. Otherwise, they never offer anything, because there are so many people there and there is a fast turnover. Next devotees need to come. So Guruji Maharaj listened to me. I filled my little bottle and I came home like So happy, so happy. And the other thing that came to my mind while reading this was, uh, I think maybe in 2008, my sister-in-law had come from Pune, and it was a Monday. And in those days, the Bade Mandir used to open, I think, their gates at 5 o'clock in the evening. And my Didi says that, let's go to Bade Mandir. So I said, Didi, just look at the time. This is not the time. It's always closed at this time. We won't even get to go inside. So she said, no, but you come now, let's go. So I just went along with her, not expecting that even we'll get darshan. And as Guruji ki kripa, we went in. We were matha taking, and somebody came out of the kitchen, one lady, and she told us that, would you want to come and help with the langar preparation? Because two of our sevadars have not come today. So this is Guruji. He blesses us so much, so much. He gives us, actually, he just, even when we don't know what we have received, he is giving us more. He's giving us something all the time. Even right now, that as I speak, I feel blessed. When we got to read this book, which I read like 3 times, we received so many blessings when we read experiences which Uncle has shared. Commander Uncle really has written a beautiful book. So Shukrana, and to receive this book, Suresh Uncle sent me this book about 2 months ago. So Shukrana, 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 Har Pal Shukrana. So Jai Guru Ji, Shukrana Guru Maharaj Ji. Thank you, Sangat Ji. Thank you.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji. Thank you so much, Aarti Aunty. On such a blissful day, we all have been blessed with Guruji Maharaj's grace and divinity. Praying for Sarvat Ka Bhala. Thank you so much, Aunty Ji, for coming on the platform. Thank you so much, Commander Uncle. By Guruji's grace, आपने ये इतनी प्यारी सुंदर सी किताब लिखी जिसमें हम सबको इतना ज़्यादा गाइडलाइंस मिल रही हैं how to go ahead in the spiritual journey with Guruji Maharaj. May Guruji Maharaj bless all of us. Happy Diwali to the Guru Parivar once again on behalf of Shukrana Multilingual Group and on behalf of Suresh Uncle. You all can unmute yourself and take Agya from Guruji Maharaj. Thank you so much, Aarti Aunty Ji, once again.
Thank you only to Guru Maharaj Ji, Shukrana Maharaj, for blessing all of you. Thank you. Jai Guru Ji.
Ji Aunty. Sangat Ji, you all can unmute yourself and take Agya, please. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji, Sukrana Guruji, Agya Guruji, Anantam Anantam Sukrana Guruji Maharaj, Jai Guruji.
जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी, श्रद्धा भला करो गुरु जी, आज्ञा गुरु जी। हैप्पी दिवाली संगत जी।
Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji, Agya Guru Maharaj. Jai Guruji.